Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me help you, Chaos Kids. I'm Amber. I'm the one that needs help today.
I'm Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Crime, Wine, and so much fucking chaos.
Yep. We haven't even done anything yet.
Seriously.
What is happening?
I don't know. I'm all like sweaty. We haven't even started yet.
Fuck, man.
Amber was having some major technical difficulties.
I came back gigantic, zoomed in.
She has camera problems.
Mm-hmm. So dumb. Oh my God.
Hi, sister.
Hi, sister. We're here.
We made it.
Ish.
Sort of.
God.
Oh, it's been a minute. We recorded early last week because I was traveling.
Yeah. How was your trip?
Oh, sister. Oh, man. That was a lot. A lot happened in 5 days. Let's just
Really?
Yeah, a lot of things. Trip related and not trip related. And
oh, no.
Some of it was rough. Some of it was incredible. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, New Orleans is it's a fun town.
Yeah, I bet.
Really fun town. And I got to see a Halloween parade, the Crew of Boo parade.
Stop it.
Which is basically like, I mean, they love a parade in New Orleans, obviously. Sure. And I was talking to one of my Lyft drivers after the fact, and she was basically like, I tell everybody, like, the Halloween parade, the Christmas parade, the New Year's parade, those are the ones you can go to, and you get an idea of Mardi Gras without having to actually do Mardi Gras, which is like totally my jam, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
Those are all, and especially like the Halloween one, it's very kid friendly, it's family friendly, so it's way more low key, but you still have like the double decker buses full of people throwing beads and shit at you, and we had a good time. We had a really good time. So we did the parade, and the wedding was phenomenal.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
Phenomenal, so fucking cool, beginning to end. And the last thing we did after the ceremony and then the reception was we did a second line from the reception to a bar about, 10 or 12 minutes away, which is that very New Orleans, like jazz band in the street and everybody's dances along with the band.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the bride and the groom like led the whole thing with their like fancy umbrellas and they danced the whole way. And it was
amazing.
Incredible. And Amber, it's so cool because like this is such a New Orleans thing and people are so into it. Like, and you know it happens all the time. These second lines, they happen all the time for all kinds of weddings, funerals, whatever. People literally just like come out of their houses and like stand on their porches and their balconies and stuff and like dance when you go by and like wave at you and like take pictures and stuff. Like everybody's into it.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. And then I had a day to myself before I came home. And I went and visited the Whitney plantation.
Oh, geez.
And that was its own thing.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, there's a bunch of plantations that you can visit outside of New Orleans. It's about an hour drive to get out there, 45 minutes to an hour, depending. I was on like a tour bus thingy that like takes groups and brings you back because it's not easy to get out there if you don't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
But the Whitney plantation is the one that gets like the highest marks, for lack of a better term, for being like 100% slave focused and slave centric and like really giving you the actual real history of the slavery on the property. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of the other plantations, they like kind of talk about it a little bit here and there or whatever, but they're not like 100% focused on that. And so it's historians and the like say, like, if you're going to do the visit a plantation thing and get the history of that, the Whitney plantation is the one you should go to.
Yeah. Good
so I did
know.
that.
Wow. That's heavy.
It was super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
So that was my week. What about you? What's going on with you?
Shit, I got a show tomorrow night, but this will come out 3 weeks after my show. So I've been
never mind.
Well, no, but what I've been up to is working on music, really kind of cramming, making sure I'm prepared for that. And yeah, that's about it.
And is the whole album dropped now?
Yes, the EP has dropped.
And you sent me a link to the most lovely review, like a really thorough and thoughtful write-up of the album that anyone who reads it will want to go and listen to this album because it sounds great. I haven't had a chance to listen yet, so don't no spoilers, but
no, I won't. But it is called The Caged Goliath. It's available on all your streaming places.
Yeah, go check it out, guys. Go check it out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Sister, are you drinking today?
I am. You're going to say something about the number of body parts. It's 100 nails. Pinot Noir.
100 nails?
Yeah. What did you say before? Like 2 hands, 5 cats, 7 dolphins.
7 pants, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Listen. That's right.
There's a theme these days with naming wines.
Apparently. Yeah.
I guess so. Anything else for the good of the order, sis?
No, but do you have a crime story for me?
I'm going to tell you about Celeste Manno. Manno? Hard to say. I've only heard it pronounced in Australian accented videos. Celeste Manno. She was born November 22nd, 1996, to parents Tony Manno and Aggie DeMoro in Catania, Italy. Celeste was their first child. She did have an older half-brother named Jaden, and when Celeste was 4, her little brother Alessandro was born. And Celeste adored him. She loved being his big sister. When Celeste was still pretty young, the family moved to Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
She was always a ray of sunshine. Even in her extended family, that's how she was described. She was just as excited to meet her baby cousin Jessie as she was when she met her little brother Alessandro. Her whole family describes her as the embodiment of love and light, capturing the hearts of all who knew her.
Oh, gosh.
And she extended that to everyone she met. She really disliked the idea of anyone feeling left out. She was always striving to include others and spread positivity wherever she went. Even as she grew older, Celeste remained steadfast in her commitment to helping others. She did this during her high school years by volunteering her time to an organization for young people needing someone willing to listen to their troubles. And in high school, Celeste was a cheerleader, and she had a ton of friends.
She sounds awesome.
For the record, Celeste is also physically gorgeous, right? Just gorgeous. And as she moved into adulthood, her aspirations to study criminology and psychology at RMIT were fueled by her dedication to be a ray of hope and healing for other people. She lived by the mantra of kindness, making it her mission to let her heart shine as the most beautiful aspect of her being. She believed in starting your day with a smile, being kind, and making your heart the prettiest thing about you.
Oh my God, I love her.
I know.
God.
She found joy in all the simple pleasures of life: music, dance, food, laughter, sports, shopping. She just had that zest, you know? She pursued her dreams of becoming a psychologist and considered becoming a model. She was intelligent and talented, and she was intent on spreading hope and joy wherever she went. So she graduated from university, and all through her whole life, all the way through, she was really close with her mom, Aggie. They were so close that even at the age of 23, Aggie still tucked Celeste in at night, you know, gave her a kiss and said, I love you, you know?
Sweet. Yeah.
So in June of 2019, Celeste was working at a call center for a company called Serco, where she had worked her way up to a team leader position. And it was at this job that Celeste would meet Chris Risdale. He was a young man that she would eventually start dating. So one day at work, she was required to escort another employee out of the building, a man she had known very briefly in his time at the company after he had been fired that day.
And they had her escort him out?
Well, he'd been working there for like a little over a year, but he'd been transferred very recently to Celeste's team.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really know him that well, but technically she was his team lead.
Okay.
So she walks him out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, having the big heart that she did, she felt bad for the guy. And so before they parted, she extended her hand while apologizing to him for what had happened and wishing him well on whatever came next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of taking her hand for the handshake that she was offering, the man grabbed Celeste and kissed her on the cheek.
Mm-mm.
This man's name was Louis Nader Sacco.
Uh-huh.
When Celeste gets home from work that day, where she lived with her mom, she tells Aggie what happened and how she went like beet red when he did it. And it was really awkward. And Aggie kind of brushes it off and says, you know, he probably had a crush on you for a while. It's nothing. Like, don't even worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then a couple days later, that weekend, Celeste tells Aggie that she's now received a DM on Instagram from a brand new account that Sacco had made specifically to contact her.
No.
And he is messaging her that he is in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
He can't eat. He can't sleep. He can't look for work because he's so enamored of Celeste.
So he's obsessed with her. He's not in love with her, but okay.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
One message he sent said, quote, "I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking about you. I've never felt this way about anyone in my entire life. It's bordering along OCD. I'm totally infatuated with you, captivated and fascinated by you. You're all I think about. If it was ever possible, I'd give my life and the world to you. I'm so infatuated with you that it's now becoming unhealthy. After leaving you, my productivity and my personal life and my new job has been impacted. This obsession with you, which is a crush, is an addictive and destructive feeling that is interfering with my ability to concentrate, deal with others, and go about my daily routine."
Oh, I mean, that's weirdly introspective of him. It's so problematic. It's so is there ever a time when somebody receives that kind of message and they're like, you know what, let's hook up. Let's like, what is he thinking is going to happen from this?
They're never thinking. They're never thinking.
Oh.
Or at least not clearly.
Wow.
This, of course, makes Celeste very uncomfortable, and she responds to him initially from a place of trying to, manage this situation, like on her own,
mm-hmm.
and let him down easy,
Mm-hmm.
So she says, quote, "Hi, Louis, those are really sweet words, and I appreciate you saying all of that to me. I'm a bit surprised to read this all as it is new to me. As much as I appreciate this, I only feel in a professional way towards you, and I wish you all of the best in your new job and journey."
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
No notes.
Mm-hmm.
But he did not stop. He was relentless.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, after Celeste messaged him, he just intensified his harassment of her.
God.
Every time Celeste would block his account, he would make a new one and start messaging her again. He made dozens of accounts over the course of this stalking and harassing, and this went on for months and months. And then they started getting sexual,
Mm-hmm.
and Celeste was even more distressed. She messaged him again and told him to stop and that he was making her very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Celeste was having trouble sleeping. She was super stressed out. The whole thing was so upsetting and unsettling. And in the midst of this, she starts dating Chris. And she's trying to enjoy this new relationship, but Louis Sacco is showing up constantly in her DMs with inappropriate messages.
Oh, God.
And Chris is watching this, and he is seeing how upsetting it all is for Celeste. Like, he's really feeling for her through this, right? Like, he's with her in this. Eventually, Sako's messages shift into like an angry place. He sends her one message that says, quote, "My impression of you has changed. You're no different to the majority of women. I'll remember you and this lesson for all life, and I will devote every ounce of energy I have to climbing up and proving to the world that I'm somebody. That is my promise to you and final contact with you."
Whoa. Okay, fucker. You're no different than all the other women. Oh, I hate that. That's triggering.
And that's so crazy too, right? Because we're talking about this obsession that he has.
Mhm.
And he is basically throwing all these fucking unwanted messages over the wall, right? He's just lobbing all this shit over a wall. And he has no real, like, beyond like a moment outside of work and like the once or twice she's responded to him, he has no relationship with her. He does not know her,
Right.
like, at all. So everything that is happening is all happening like in his fucking head.
Yep.
None of it's real.
And yeah. Oh my God. I don't understand what the pathology of, stalking. It's one of those things for me that's like,
No, it's one of the reasons why I brought.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you for
you're
that.
welcome. You're welcome.
What's happening where like
I
all
don't know.
reasoning is just.
I don't know. So this last message was the one that made Aggie convince Celeste, like, let's take this to the police and report this.
Mhm.
This had been going on for 6 months. It needed to be reported, and Celeste needed some outside help.
Yeah.
And as you would expect, the police did nothing.
Right.
Aggie says that they were told, quote, "He hasn't committed a crime. There's nothing we can do about it. Just ignore him. Get off social media."
Oh, it's her responsibility to call us when he hurts you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
No report was taken. No note of the name of this man was written by anyone at the police department.
Oh, fuck.
And then the stalking and harassment from Sako over the next 6 months just ramped up even worse.
Mm-hmm.
He started following Celeste. She saw him parked outside her work, and because he followed her, he figured out where she lived.
Oh, no.
His messages to her became more derogatory, more vulgar, and more sexually explicit.
Mm-hmm.
And in this 6-month period, he sent over 140 messages to Celeste.
Oh, my God.
So after 6 months more of this, Aggie and Celeste go back to the police and they speak to a different officer who asks them if they've reported this before.
Mm-hmm.
And Aggie's like, yeah, 6 months ago. Should something have been done then? And the officer responded basically, let's just say some of us do our jobs better than others.
Oh. Shit.
This is when he tells them that Celeste needs to get a personal safety intervention order immediately. And this is the Australian version of a restraining order or an order of protection.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
So Sako is served with this intervention order, which means he cannot contact Celeste at all. And Aggie reminded Celeste that this was just a piece of paper because Aggie was still very leery of this man and rightfully worried for her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And Sako did try to contest this order and take Celeste to court over it, but he was denied.
Again, the mentality of somebody who's trying to get a restraining order against you, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to contest that. I demand that I be allowed to interact with you.
Right?
On what planet? What?
It's wild.
It's so wild.
So a month goes by. It's super quiet. Celeste is thinking this order is working.
Mm-hmm.
And then in August of 2020, so we're over a year into this shit now, she received like basically what a 3-page letter from Sako. It was sent on Instagram, but it was basically a letter.
Mm-hmm.
She was so shaken up about it that she didn't even read it. She sent it like straight to the police. Mm-hmm. In the letter, Sako was pleading with Celeste to drop the order, that she was ruining his life. He wrote, quote, "Please see reason, Celeste. Please, Celeste. The ball is in your court. Only you can end this now, Celeste. Please end this nonsense by withdrawing the order and stopping the charges against me for stalking and harassment. And if you make the right choice, Celeste, both of us can move on and we can finally have peace of mind. Smiley face.
No. God, I just got chills. Oh, God.
So Aggie and Celeste are floored that he breached this order by sending this letter, but it also meant the cops could go pick him up for it.
Yeah.
So they arrested him, and this is the end of August of 2020, for the breach. But he was quickly released, and he messaged her again, but the tone had changed.
Mm-hmm.
He was even angrier now. And in one of his messages, he wrote to Celeste, quote, "I know you reject me. I get it. I'm like dirt to you. I get it. You hate me. I get it."
Oh, God.
And then he went silent.
Mm-mm.
3 months went by. And Celeste did not hear from Sacco at all. And eventually, Celeste started to breathe a little easier and feel like the whole thing was finally behind her.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she might have assumed, like, okay, he got picked up for breaching the order. He doesn't want to do that again, so he's moving on.
Yeah. We've talked about this so many times before where it's, in some regards, it seems like it would almost be better to keep getting the messages because then you feel like you have some sort of pulse on where they're at or tabs or something. And that's got to be an awful spot to be in, that when it goes silent, you can't really breathe a sigh of relief like it stopped. Instead, it could feel like the other shoe's going to drop and I don't want to be caught off guard. Yeah.
Right.
Oh God. It's such an awful crime. It's such an awful thing to do to somebody.
The psychological, like, warfare of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So Celeste is so sure that this is behind her that she finally felt safe enough to make a post on her Instagram of a picture of her and Chris and make their relationship public.
Okay.
Later that night, well, early morning hours, November 16th, 2020, Sacco smashed Celeste's bedroom window and broke in while she and Aggie were sleeping. The sound woke Aggie up, but she was like groggy, right? So she wasn't really sure like what the sound was that woke her up. And she thought that maybe she was like in the middle of a horrible nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And then she heard Celeste gasping and she knew something bad was happening. By the time Aggie got to Celeste's room, Celeste was gone.
No.
Aggie said she could see the look in her eyes, like distant. Her eyes were open, but
yeah,
she was gone. So Aggie called for an ambulance. She gave Celeste CPR, but when the EMTs arrived, she could tell by their faces that Celeste could not be saved.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Sacco had stabbed Celeste 23 times.
Oh my God.
And she had massive defensive wounds. But it was the wound, like the stab wound straight into her heart that killed her.
Mm-hmm.
She was 6 days shy of her 24th birthday.
Oh my God.
And then this fucking psycho got in his car and drove himself to the police station where he blamed law enforcement officers for Celeste's murder and asked them to shoot him. He said to them, quote, "You know what happened. It's your fault. She's dead. She's dead. Go have a look."
Oh, this guy is so unwell.
Louis Sacco was 39 years old at the time of Celeste's murder. He was born in Iraq in 1985. He was one of 5 kids. His family migrated to Australia in 1992. Throughout the court proceedings over the next 3+ years, more information about this man that Celeste never even knew would come out. Like the fact that he had never been in a romantic relationship his entire life.
Whoa.
He had purchased the hammer that broke the window and the knife he used to kill Celeste 3 months before, the day after he was released from jail when he was arrested for breaking the intervention order.
Oh, when she thought she was safe, he was escalating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was looking at an attempt to pervert the course of justice charge, an offense that carries a 10-year sentence. That's what would have happened from the arrest in August.
Mm-hmm.
He then tracked down the floor plans to Aggie's house so he could figure out exactly where Celeste slept at night.
Oh, God.
And when he saw the picture that Celeste posted on Instagram of her and Chris, he saw Chris's smile as a massive insult to him. He felt like Chris was laughing maniacally at him.
Nobody is even thinking about you, dude.
Right.
Oh my God.
Sacco tried to get out of responsibility for this murder by way of mental impairment. He was evaluated by a handful of doctors. 4 of them agreed that Sacco was well aware of what he was doing at the time of the murder. His stories to these doctors of crazy hallucinations did not fool them. They picked up real quickly that he was weaving tales.
Mm-hmm.
And the insult to the injury here is that every maneuver he made in court prolonged the process, putting Aggie and the rest of Celeste's family and friends through the agony of waiting, sitting, listening, stewing, like getting nowhere with this case because he kept pulling shit, right? At one point at his pre-sentencing plea, he fired his attorney and then proceeded to cross-examine a forensic expert who had asserted that Sacco had stabbed Celeste 23 times. Sacco insisted he stabbed her twice, and all the other stab wounds came from broken glass from the window.
That's not how stab wounds work, but wow.
And in that hearing, one by one, Celeste's family walked out of the court in abject disgust as Sacco was allowed to relive his murderous actions in open court.
Mm-hmm. Fuck.
Aggie and the rest of Celeste's family urged the court to give Sacco a life sentence, but the judge concluded that he did have a personality disorder that caused a significant impairment and sentenced him to 36 years with the possibility of parole in 2050. This was at the end of February of this year, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Aggie is furious that this man will walk free and has a petition going to have the sentencing appealed and a life sentence imposed. She says that if he had a life sentence with the possibility of parole, then at least he would be monitored when he left prison.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands now, once he's out, he's free, and no one's going to be keeping an eye on him, which concerns her.
Yeah.
She continues to fight for justice for Celeste and for women across Australia.
Mm.
And I will link the website that Aggie has made for all of this stuff, where they memorialize Celeste and talk about all the actions that they're taking to try and change some of the laws in Australia.
Wow.
That is the story of the murder of Celeste Manno.
That's awful.
Yeah.
39 years old and he's never had a relationship. I mean, I can't imagine why.
I know. I also briefly, I didn't dig into it, but there was an article where somebody like interviewed his family, like his mom. I'm not sure. And one of his other siblings, one of his brothers also was like in prison for murder or had murdered somebody.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I just saw one sentence in there that said something like they didn't really associate with each other though, or something like that. So it's like, that almost makes it worse. It's like, is there something genetically going on in your family here? Like, what is happening? Like, it's not what?
No kidding.
But when it looks like it was some kind of like, he killed a dude and maybe there was like a brawl or a fight involved. I don't know. I didn't really dig into it because it didn't really matter to the merits of the case or whatever. But
yeah. Oh, like, God, poor Celeste.
I know. Just literally a rando. Like, we worry about being stalked by like an ex because it's so common.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then it's like it's not like I'm not justifying, but it makes sense, right? Like you spent time with that person, you had an emotional connection with that person, you had a relation, right? And so then when, you break it off and they can't let go, right? Like,
right.
It's not so much projection. It's more like trying to hold on to something that's not there anymore, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
like some of those feelings are real. This guy invented feelings.
100%. There was like nothing there. They were strangers.
And how does that happen?
I don't even know.
How are you so disconnected from reality that you have this whole fictitious love story in your mind that is...
I don't know. And so, on to that point, I mean, the judge isn't necessarily wrong,
Yeah.
you know? Like, clearly there is some severe impairment happening
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Because that is not healthy behavior. That is even less healthy behavior than like your basic run of the mill stalking, like X stalking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
I'm
like,
not making light of any of it or justifying any of it. I'm just saying, like I feel for Aggie and Celeste's family.
yeah.
And it is scary. It is scary to think that he's going to go to prison. And is he going to get the help that he needs? I don't know. Are they going to monitor when he gets out? I don't know. Is it possible this could happen again? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's up there with stalking a celebrity.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ugh. Well, that was awful.
Sorry, sister. That's what I have for you today.
That's okay.
You have a chaos story to
I have a chaos, but it's
pivot
not
to here.
It's not a palate cleanser. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh, so okay. All right. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
She's pre-apologizing, you guys.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you about Derek Johnson. Okay.
Okay.
So Derek Johnson lives in Irvington, New Jersey with his mom, Daisy. He has an older brother, John, who he is very close with. And Derek was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at a very young age.
Oh, no. Oh, you're going to... I'm going to be crying in this one, aren't I?
I don't know.
Oh, sister.
He is nonverbal, and doctors said that he would likely never be able to talk. He eventually can make some noises, and he does hand cues that his mom is able to understand. And when he gets frustrated, he sometimes abuses himself by doing things like banging his head against the table.
At some point in this story, did you take a moment to explain cerebral palsy? Because I don't think everybody knows what cerebral palsy is.
Motherfuckhole. You told me no further questions.
Well, I think it's important only because I only know this because mom used to work with and has a friend who has cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. It's not something I would know otherwise, probably, unless I went looking for it. But cerebral palsy is a strictly physical ailment. You're born with it, physical.
So cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Is a group of neurological disorders that affect a person's ability to move, balance, and maintain posture. It's caused by abnormal brain development or damage that occurs before or during a child's early life.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily impair your cognitive function.
I think that it does.
My understanding is that in most cases it does not. And people with cerebral palsy are with it up here. It's their body that isn't responding.
Okay, well, you have put yourself into the eye of the storm. So let's go on.
Okay. I just know this because I remember mom talking about this stuff a lot when she used to work for United Cerebral Palsy. And then she went on to work for that company that she got switched to when they shut down the facilities and they started moving the clients from facilities into their own houses. Mm-hmm. And I remember her talking about how a lot, maybe it's not all of them, but a lot of people with cerebral palsy have strictly physical problems that can include not being able to speak, but that is a physical impairment, but that their brains are fully functioning. So the frustration comes from the fact that they can think, they can understand, they're smart, but their mouth doesn't do the thing to say the words that they want to say because they're physically impaired from doing so.
Well, you just summarized my whole story. Should we just...
I'm so sorry.
No, it's
keep
okay.
going. No, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
I'm sorry, kids. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so Derek and John were inseparable growing up, and now as adults, they're still extremely close. But Derek will forever live at home with his mom, who is his caretaker.
Right.
In 2009, Dr. Anna Stubblefield was the director of the philosophy department at Rutgers University in New Jersey. She was teaching the American Studies doctoral program, and John was one of her students.
The brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She had classes on race and disability studies, and her focus was on ethics in race and disabilities, and that just because someone is nonverbal doesn't mean they don't have anything to say.
Right.
They just don't have the access to say it.
Right.
One of the mechanisms that Anna discusses in her class is called facilitated communication.
Okay.
In simplified terms, it's when an instructor assists the nonverbal individual in using a keyboard to communicate.
Sure.
John was in this class where this was being presented, and after class, he went up to Dr. Anna and said that he had never heard of this, and he went on to tell her about his brother Derek.
Mm-hmm. He's probably thinking, like, can we get Derek a keyboard? Let's go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. John tells Anna that he knew that something more was in Derek's mind than what he was able to articulate, and he tells her that he would like to learn more about facilitated communication.
Okay.
She tells him that the only place on the East Coast was Syracuse University, but that it was very expensive. So Anna offers to meet Derek and do some initial assessments to see if he would be a good candidate. Just sort of pro bono.
Uh-oh. I don't know why I have a bad feeling about her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Both of Anna's parents have PhDs in special education and worked extensively with people with disabilities. Her mom, Dr. Sandra McLennan, worked with blind, cognitively impaired children and was one of the earliest practitioners of facilitated communication.
Is this from Tell Me You Love Me?
Yes.
I didn't watch it. I've heard about it, but I haven't heard anything about it. It's just been recommended to me. So
okay.
As soon as you start, I was like, oh, this is okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry. Keep going. Her parents are PhDs, disabilities. Okay.
Mm-hmm. In fact, her mom, Dr. Sandra, was one of the first people in the country to practice facilitated communication. So Anna meets Derek in March of 2009. She starts by visiting him at home with his mom, Daisy, and John. And Anna has brought pictures that she cut out of magazines for Derek to point at. And she tells him that she's going to ask him some questions and just see what he points to.
Okay.
And she does need to provide a little support on his elbow to allow him to accurately point to things because he doesn't actually have the mobility to point.
Okay.
Then she makes a few cards with letters on them and asks him to spell basic words, which he does. Then she brings out the keyboard, which is a lot trickier because the keys are small, and
right.
So she holds all of his fingers down except for his index finger so he can click the keys.
Okay.
And she's still holding his elbow too.
Uh-huh.
So he starts communicating pretty well on this device, which is called a Neo. And the Neo device actually stores everything that's been typed into its memory.
Okay.
So they spend several hours a week together, and Anna says that over the course of a year, his responses went from one-word answers to small paragraphs.
Okay.
By the fall of 2010, Anna says that Derek expressed an interest in attending college courses. So he enrolled in the Saturday African American History course at Rutgers. Anna sat in class with him and provided support, but then they ended up pairing up with another student, Sharonda, who would help him with facilitation of his homework.
I'm confused. Did he go to school prior to this?
He has been in like an adult day program. So I think he did go to school. He's like in his late 20s, early 30s at this point.
Okay.
Yes. So I think he did attend school and he does go to like an adult day program every day.
Okay. Is he in a wheelchair of some kind?
No, he can walk, but you need to hold on to him. So his mom.
Because he's unsteady.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. So another year passes and Anna's mom is hosting a conference and she asks Anna if Derek would like to be a presenter. The panel was about individual rights to communicate, but Anna tells Derek not to worry too much about the topic of the panel. You can just speak to your own experiences about what it means to communicate.
Okay.
And according to Anna, Derek wrote a very profound piece for the panel. At this point, Anna says that Derek was one of her best friends and she really enjoyed his company. Anna was also married at the time, and she says that while her marriage wasn't great, her and Derek truly were just best friends.
I don't like where this is going.
And you won't.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. In the spring of 2001, Anna invites Derek to speak to an undergrad class about disabilities, and one of the students asks if he had hopes and dreams of finding love, and he typed back that he would love to have that, but it seemed unlikely with his disabilities.
Well, that just makes me sad.
I know. Anna says that at that moment, she wanted to let him know that he could have that with her.
There's so much wrong with this.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much fucking wrong with this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, Anna had a husband and 2 kids, but she was in love with Derek.
Okay.
So a week later, Anna told Derek that she loved him, and she says that he typed, "I know, I love you too."
This is what she says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it is saved in the Neo thing, but she's also his arm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It was then that the 2 kissed for the first time.
This is making me really uncomfortable.
It's going to get worse.
Great.
And this is when red flags started to pop up with Daisy and John.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So at this time, Derek was sort of on like a speaking tour with Anna for like these panels of facilitated communication. And Derek and Daisy went with them. They were traveling together. And at one point during the trip, Daisy was listening to gospel music because they were very, religious. They went to church every Sunday and they always listened to gospel music. And Anna changed the station to classical and said that that is what Derek preferred. Then at one of the hotels, Daisy was feeding Derek chicken and Anna said, "What are you doing? He's a vegetarian."
What?
Right. Which
can I ask, is everyone in this story white?
Oh, no. The Johnson family is black. Anna is white.
Anna is white.
Oh, we'll get to it. I'll cue you up for one of the things that John says at the end of this that I fucking loved.
There are layers and layers of shit going on here.
Oh,
there's so many layers
white
of bad.
hero complex happening. There's
power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
There's some kind of like I don't even want to say Munchausen, but I'm also getting the sense that she is inflating his progress, so somehow she can take credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
And look good for her facilitated communication fucking pals and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Am I picking up all the things?
Yeah. And also it's important to note that prior to, I can't remember, I feel bad now. I can't remember what Daisy's profession was prior to having Derek, but she ran organizations. She was like a CEO in her own right. And she obviously quit that to be Derek's full-time caretaker. And John is a PhD student at Rutgers. Like they don't need a white person to come and save them. I mean, no family does, but it's like, these are well-educated, well-established, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Anyway, we'll get to it.
Oh my God. There's so many. Oh my God.
I know. Okay. So he's a vegetarian.
Uh-huh.
Then when John tells Derek, "I can't wait to get home so we can just kick back and have a beer," Anna tells John he doesn't like beer. He likes red wine.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yep. These are brothers who are best friends who have been kicking back beers together forever. And Daisy has been taking care of him for like 30 years. And this woman is acting like she knows best.
Yep.
Oh, it just makes me so mad. So Anna then starts telling Daisy that she is treating Derek like a kid when he was a grown man. And that Derek has been talking to her about wanting to move out of her house and into a supported independent living house.
Lie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did put it in here. Daisy had headed several organizations herself that supported individuals of color with disabilities. And John very much had an issue with how Anna was talking to his mom as if she was superior and Daisy was a fucking idiot.
Right.
Mhm. Then the relationship with Anna and Derek turns sexual.
Ugh, I'm so uncomfortable.
I am too. Mhm.
This feels like it's some kind of rape to me. Like
Mhm.
that is some kind of rape.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. By Memorial Day of 2011, Derek and Anna sit down with Daisy and John and tell them that they are in love and that they are having a sexual relationship.
Oh, God.
Mhm. John had to leave the room and go like pace.
Vomit?
Mhm. Oh, he was pacing with rage.
I bet.
And Daisy said that she had to physically sit on her hands while Anna was giving her speech.
Uh-huh.
By the time Anna left that day, she said it seemed like everything was fine. But John calls her the next day and tells her that she needs to not see Derek for a while he and his mom try to figure some things out.
Good job, John.
Yeah, John's really handsome and so smart.
Right?
Yeah, so smart. Anna goes on to repeatedly call Daisy and leave messages saying that she planned on leaving her husband and that she and Derek were in love and planned on building a life together. But Daisy and John don't return any of her calls.
Good job. Yeah. Do
Mhm.
not ghost that woman.
Mm-hmm. So John starts to use his academic expertise to really take a deep dive into this facilitated communication.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he had already experienced was that when his mom sat down to do facilitated communication with Derek, there was no communication happening. Anna told both of them that it just took time and a lot of practice. And John saying, like, in hindsight, that didn't sit well because either
Mhm.
Derek is learning how to do it or he's not, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. That is when John comes across a Frontline episode about facilitated communication. And this episode featured Dr. Howard Shane. This guy's
Frontline is like the real deal, like one of the last bastions of like true journalism on like mainstream television.
For
you know
sure.
What I mean?
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I like Dr. Howard Shane. He designed a protocol that allowed him to determine who was actually authoring the message.
Oh.
So he created a double-blind test where he showed a series of pictures and asked them to type what they saw. When both the student and the facilitator saw a picture of a key, the word key was typed. But then he showed each of them a different picture without them knowing it. He showed the facilitator a hat and the student a cup, and the word hat was typed.
Uh-huh.
And again, when the facilitator was shown a picture of shoes and the student was shown a dog, the word shoes was typed.
Uh-huh.
And this was the result over and over again.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There have been scientific studies since that prove that the words being expressed are the thoughts of the facilitator, not the student. So John learns this, and then he starts going over a lot of the work that Derek had done, and it didn't sound like him. Like, he knows his brother, right? Like his homework. Right. He's like, that doesn't sound like him.
Right.
So he ultimately comes to the conclusion that facilitated communication is bullshit.
Like 100% across the board?
Yeah, we'll get to that too.
Okay. I'm super curious about this stuff.
Well, it's interesting because I did talk to Mom about this, and she said that Rod and Tony used a thing where they used their eyes.
Uh-huh.
So there wasn't another person playing a role in their communication.
Right.
And I'm like, well, why aren't we using that?
Right.
If that was available way back when she was caring for them, this is 2011.
Right.
Why are we physically taking someone's hand and typing for them if there's something more advanced than that?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. So John and Daisy initially don't have any intentions of taking legal action against Anna. They just want her to go away.
Just get the fuck out of here. Don't go away mad. Just go away.
Mm-hmm. That was until she sent a message to his day program, letting them know that his family wasn't doing what was in his best interest. And would it be okay if she quietly came to see him?
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This woman.
I cannot.
This woman.
This is so fucking bold.
It's so gross. It's so gross. So that's when John met with the dean of students at Rutgers and told her everything. Mhm. So Daisy here, our clever Daisy, calls Anna and she's like, Derek hasn't been acting like himself. And I think it's because he misses you. She says he has been biting his hands and he seems agitated. And Daisy asks Anna, how many times were the two of you intimate? And says that she's, trying to get a good understanding of their relationship for Derek's sake. And
Right.
Anna answers all of her questions truthfully. She says they had sex twice in her office.
Ew.
Yeah. And of course, the phone call was set up and the entire thing was recorded.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So Anna is terminated from her teaching position at Rutgers. A search warrant was also executed on her home, which is how her husband learned what was going on because he still has no idea.
Oh my God.
It's so wild.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. So a full investigation is launched, and Dr. Howard Shane from Frontline is called to evaluate Derek and make a determination of what his abilities are.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Shane brings some really basic objects with him, like a spoon and a cup, and he instructs Derek to pick up the spoon, and Derek wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Shane says that Derek was able to touch the refrigerator to say that he was hungry, but pointing to a picture of a refrigerator to convey the same message was a greater level of abstraction that Derek wasn't able to do.
So he couldn't sit in college courses and
No.
do like college
Right,
level
book report?
homework.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. In fact, all of the different evaluations Derek had participated in over the course of his life, that was kind of the determination made by every expert that ever evaluated him.
Besides Anna.
Besides Anna, who is the
Who's
savior.
not an expert
Mm-mm.
about anything.
Yeah.
Except for cons.
Right.
She's an expert at conning.
Ugh. Dr. Shane spends 3 hours with Derek observing him and interacting with him, and his findings were that his expressive and receptive language was somewhere in the 6 to 12-month-old range.
Interesting.
Yeah. He was not able to communicate with a device of any kind. Yeah. Ultimately, Dr. Shane's analysis matched what every other medical professional had stated for over 20 years.
She raped a baby.
Yeah. So Anna was charged with sexual assault of a disabled adult. In September of 2015, the trial began. So the entire case for all this bullshittery hinged on whether or not Derek was able to give consent.
Well, a baby can't give consent, so.
But early on, the court made a determination that facilitated communication did not meet the standards of admissible evidence. And so no documentation of the facilitated communication could be used for Anna's defense.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Then, this is really gross.
Oh.
The prosecution does bring Derek in to basically, with his mom, to kind of do a lap through court and basically put him on as an exhibit so that the judge and the jury could see his level of disability.
Right.
Which I guess is important, but also it feels really gross.
Feels gross, yeah.
Mm-hmm. When Anna is questioned on the stand, she testifies that she would never fall in love with someone who wasn't capable of consent or with someone who couldn't connect with her through sharing ideas and talking about books, etc. Yeah.
What?
She
was having a conversation with herself.
Oh, Naomi, you're so smart. This literally is a sentence coming up later. So many things.
It's strange. It's in some ways similar to the story I just told you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the jury finds Anna guilty, and in January of 2016, she returns to court for sentencing. John gives a victim impact speech at the sentencing in which one of the things he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, Derek is not some black kid from the ghetto who needed to be saved by some white woman. You are not Sandra Bullock, and this is not The Blind Side. Fucking love him.
Which I've also heard criticism of that movie in comparison to the actual truth of the story.
Yeah. Anna's now ex-husband also wrote a statement.
So yeah.
He said that he believes that Anna is a narcissist and a pathological liar.
Yeah.
She was sentenced to 12 years in prison, and upon release will be on parole supervision for life.
Wow.
Dr. Shane says that he doesn't believe that Anna is a perpetrator, but that she is a victim of a methodology that is not supported by the scientific community. And as far as he is concerned, she was never having a conversation with Derek. She was having a conversation with herself.
Sorry. So me and Dr. Shane are like
simpatico. Yep. You're basically Dr. Shane.
I'm a doctor now. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll stay in the FBI profiler role. You're the new doctor.
I can be a doctor and be an FBI profiler. It's fine.
Okay. That's like God. Oh, Betty Broderick's husband that she killed. That just got dark.
I don't know what I'm missing. I'm forgetting.
He was like an attorney and a doctor. And
anyway. Right. Okay.
So Anna did appeal her sentence on the basis of her defense being limited by the court's decision to not allow any evidence of facilitated communication.
The debunked junk science.
Correct.
Okay.
After serving 2 years, she accepted a plea of a lesser charge, was given credit for time served, and released.
Is she not on supervised parole for the rest of her life?
She might be. She was able to get a waitressing job upon her release, but as soon as a customer learned who she was fired. So now she works part-time from home. The use of facilitated communication has been rejected by the American Psychology Association, the American Speech Language Hearing Association, and several other prominent organizations.
But it's still out there as a thing?
Yeah.
I don't even have words at this point.
One of the things that she said, the problem is when you're watching this is initially she's really likable. Right? And one of the things that she said that kind of made me go, oh yeah, that is kind of fucked, is like, because her parents are so pro like rallying for people with disabilities. She was raised that way. That's been her whole career. The idea that she really was in love with Derek being completely inconceivable to other people, that in and of itself is kind of gross. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's complicated. Like, yeah, there's no way that could be true.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that she didn't think that she was in love with the guy.
Yeah.
You know, but she wasn't actually, the reality is that she wasn't actually in love with him. She was in love with herself. Because she was talking to herself. She was attributing to him all these qualities that weren't there. It wasn't really him.
That's true. Also, we don't know what was really there. Like, I heard this podcast that I love, Women in Crime. They covered this. And one of the things they said that was so true is like, either way, it's so sad for Derek because either he was in love and she was just ripped away from him, or he was fully raped.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he can't communicate at all to say which.
Right.
I mean, it's just so complicated and so fucked up and so...
Yeah, but everything that she did was wrong.
Oh, God. Yes, 100%.
Like everything.
So wrong.
Oh, well, now I know what that documentary was about. Jesus.
It's a good watch.
Look, don't get me... I mean... There's just so many aspects of society where people with disabilities get fucking screwed. Like so many ways in so many places and it's from so many angles, you know, but like, and I think that's part of it, right? Like, I think that's part of the outrage from all of it is that like, regardless, like it just feels like she's just, that whole thing just feels so predatory to me, you know?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
And you know what? Thank God that, Derek had Daisy and John.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the Dereks of the world that don't.
I know. The thing that pissed me off so much, and like I feel this as a mom, if somebody coming in like after you've been at this for 30 years acting like they know best, like that's
right.
Whew, that's good. That's a throat punch. I will fuck you up.
Right?
Lizzie knows what she's doing. She knows what her
Right?
son needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Sorry about that.
thanks for that, sister.
You're welcome.
We did it.
You sure did.
We pulled it out.
Right out of our biscuits. Woohoo! Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love you so
Love
much,
you,
sister. Thank you for that. You know what? Find us on the things, especially on the TikTok. We need the TikTok love because that's where we're going to be putting all of our social media juice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, we're not really doing much in the way of meta products.
Sprinklings here and there if it's necessary.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go away. And then I know we keep saying that, but it's really gonna happen.
We can't be trusted. We're full of empty threats.
But we do all the things on Patreon. So
That's
go over
true.
there. You don't even have to, have a paid membership. You can subscribe to the Patreon and you can get the updates that are not behind the paywall. And if you really want to get in on the action, you can join the Chaos Kids Club. You get a bonus episode every month. You get new episodes every week, a day earlier than they drop for everyone else. And every once in a while, we do a virtual wine night, which I'm hoping we get to do one again soon. We're creeping. It's been a slow creep far for that next 10 club members. That's patreon.com/crime, wine, and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And sister, I love you.
Love you,
and that
sister.
was
so chaotic. Goodbye.
Bye.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Paul Abner. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at crimewineandchaos.com/Patreon. Cheers.
Excuse me, a little.
That'll help.
Always.
I got you.